breaking news. This is insane. Murder suspect, Tupac Shakur murder suspect, Keffe D, files an appeal to dismiss charges. Does he have a chance? Let's get into some of this straight game.
Blackjack. Life is like those cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy Delray Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Tupac Shakur murder suspect Keffe Duane Davis files an appeal to try to get the murder charge dismissed, ladies and gentlemen. This is just in out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Keffe D appeals to Nevada Supreme Court. The Nevada Supreme Court, can his Tupac murder charges be dismissed, ladies and gentlemen? So he's appealing to the Supreme Court even before they go to trial, ladies and gentlemen, right? Your boy Delray Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. What's good, family? Like I said, we back at it again. Another heavy-hitting episode. Today, we're diving into the major legal twist in the Tupac murder case that's sending shockwaves through the hip-hop world and the courtroom alike. Once again, Duane Keffe D. Davis, the man currently charged in the 1996 murder of the legendary Tupac Shakur, has just appealed to the Nevada Supreme Court to have the murder charges against him dismissed. Now, usually this happens after a conviction. So if somebody's convicted, they usually appeal to the higher court trying to get the conviction overturned. In this move, this is actually even before the trial even takes place. I wouldn't say I would know the chances of him getting his these charges dismissed. You just never know. Like I said, based on what the prosecution will try to argue. We know they're not using the Diddy information. We know they're not using the $1 million hit information, but they will be using the confessions that were made by Keffe D into the Los Angeles Police Department, and where Keffe D thought he had a proffer agreement with the United States government, and also with the Los Angeles Police Department and the government, where he thought he had a proffer agreement, and also the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, where he gave a statement shortly after that, basically confessing to the murder and giving various key details that only one would know if they were there, ladies and gentlemen. So like I said, we know that, like I said, Nevada Supreme Court. So Keffe D is trying to, get these charges dismissed. Now, I know what you're thinking. You know what I mean? I know what y'all thinking, right? You know what I mean? How do you go from openly talking about a crime in interviews and even in a published memoir to claiming innocence in court? Once again, that's one of the big dilemmas, like I said, that Keffe D is going to face from that perspective. How do you go from openly confessing on the Art of Dialogue, Vlad TV, in your memoir, and various other channels, to being involved and complicit in the murder of Tupac Shakur, and then now basically appealing to the Supreme Court, Nevada State Supreme Court, that you are now innocent, ladies and gentlemen? I really don't know how that works, but Keffe D is trying to work it, and like I said, it's his right, his legal right to do what he needs to do. So, let's rewind. For those just catching up, Keffe D was arrested in September 2023 and charged with first-degree murder. He pled not guilty, has been held without bail ever since. Prosecutors allege that Keffe D orchestrated Tupac's murder and even provided the murder weapon, according to him. This stems from a long-standing theory that the shooting was retaliation for a beatdown of Keffe D's nephew, Orlando Anderson, by Tupac and his crew, just hours before the drive-by shooting that took Tupac's life, ladies and gentlemen. The memoir, I wouldn't say the memoir, I would say Murder Rap started it all, but the memoir basically sparked it for Keffe D, if you will, as far as the investigation and what he had signed the Queen for a Day agreement and them starting to investigate. And then he went on, to promote the book on Vlad TV and, talk about him being involved, and he admitted in the book. But the memoir basically sparked it all. Here's where things get really interesting. In his 2019 memoir, Compton Street Legend, Keffe D seemingly lays it all out. Listen, he laid it all out in the book, detailing the circumstances surrounding the murder. Those very admissions are now central to the state's case against him, right? So basically, he is his own worst witness against himself, if you will. But now his legal team says, hold up, those statements should never have been used. This is what Keffe D is arguing. His lawyer is arguing that those statements should have never been used. Well, they actually haven't been used yet because he hasn't gone to trial. I guess they're saying for some kind of the grand jury proceeding, because he was indicted by a grand jury. So are they saying they shouldn't have been used for the grand jury proceedings or what? Because they haven't been used in any sort of trial as of yet from that perspective. So now, that's what his legal team saying, but hold up, those statements should have never been used, the ones in his memoir and so on and so forth, right? So the appeal to the Nevada State Supreme Court, just this week, ladies and gentlemen, just this week, news coming out as of today, yesterday, Keffe D's attorney, Carl Arnold, filed a formal appeal to the Nevada Supreme Court. He argues that Davis' constitutional rights were violated. Why? Because for over a decade, Davis cooperated with law enforcement. Basically, they're saying that Keffe D. Davis was a snitch. His lawyer is now admitting it. He said basically Davis cooperated with law enforcement under the impression that his statements would not be used to prosecute him. This is what they're arguing. So basically, they're taking the Queen for a Day because they already tried this move. They tried this move with the judge that's under the judge denied it, because what they were basically saying, they were saying that Keffe D had an immunity, a proffer agreement, right? And it wasn't a proffer agreement. It was just a Queen for a Day, right? And he was basically, he thought that he had immunity. Come to find out, they looked at the documentation and it was not that. Okay, so he lost that one. So now he's taking another bite at the legal apple and going to the Nevada State Supreme Court and trying the same move. Now, this is what he's arguing this under. He said, his lawyer said, because for over a decade, Keffe D cooperated with law enforcement. Basically, he was an informant, under the impression that his statements would not be used to prosecute him. Now, once again, under the impression is one thing. You have a written agreement is another thing. I could be under the impression that I got something that I don't have, right? But if I have it, it's like Ghislaine Maxwell. When Epstein got charged down in Florida and he got that sweetheart deal, and in the sweetheart deal he made with the government, he basically said none of his co-conspirators would be charged for anything. Ghislaine Maxwell is now taking that before the United States Supreme Court and trying to get her conviction overturned. Like I said, usually you go to the Supreme Court, or the state or federal Supreme Court after one has been convicted. Now, Keffe D is trying to do this before the trial even happens. Basically saying that, hey, they should have never been able to use those statements. I cooperated with the government under the impression that my statements would not be used to prosecute him. Now, hold on. It's different. And the reason why that is, I think I look at it now, and I don't think Keffe D is going to be successful. And the reason why I say that is because it's different to have a deal with the government and then go write a book. and then go do Art of Dialogue, then go do Vlad TV. Because in the deal that he had, he was not supposed to speak out beyond that agreement, meaning go out and admit. Everything that he admitted to them in that agreement was for that agreement. When he went out and then started talking about it in public, right? The state of Nevada didn't have any kind of deal with Keffe D. Basically, it was a state charge. What the state of Nevada was doing, they were basically respecting the federal government's deal with Keffe D, and they respected that as long as Keffe D kept his mouth quiet. He didn't do that. He wrote a book. He wrote a book based on the fact that Greg Kading did murder rap, and Keffe D was mad. And so he was like, well, if he can make money off of it, I can make money off of it too. No, he can't. He admitted to being involved in a homicide of Tupac Shakur. He couldn't do that. Most people don't understand that. So now, what he's arguing is that they should have never been able to use his statements. No, that's not true. He admitted to it in the book. He wasn't supposed to write the book because he had a deal. And the deal said, basically, you can't speak beyond this agreement publicly about what you agreed to and spoke to in this agreement. That's why he did not win this appeal the first time. He tried it with the regular state judge, and now he's going in front of the Nevada Supreme Court. And like I said, I don't think he's going to be successful. Like I said, I don't know, but I just don't think under the circumstances and what I understand about the case, I don't think this is going to work. Like I said, number one, the statement that he gave to Nevada, when you specifically dealing with the Nevada State Supreme Court, they're going to use the statement that he gave to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, in which he cooperated and told them everything, right? For that agreement, Keffe D admitted that he had no kind of deal, right? And so that's what they're trying to argue in that. But like I said, once again, they offered him no deal at that particular time. The fact that Nevada was respecting the deal that was done with the United States Attorney and the Los Angeles Police Department, the one that Greg Kading them got him to admit, the one that initial audio that was released in Murder Rap, those are two separate things. Like I said, that would have been Keffe D's lawyers not doing and saying, okay, you know, if I'm going to come talk to the Nevada Metropolitan Police Department in Las Vegas, then I'm going to need immunity under the state situation. He didn't get that. And so that's the reason why I say that. In Los Angeles, in the feds, United States government, yeah, he got that. But once again, he violated that agreement. And that was clear. So let's listen. Keffe D's lawyer, Carl Arnold, was saying, Arnold says Keffe was interviewed multiple times. Listen to this. And this is where the crux of their argument is. Arnold says Keffe was interviewed multiple times between 1998 and 2009 by federal prosecutors. During the earlier interviews, he denied involvement, but later on, he began to acknowledge a role, all while believing he had immunity. Once again, and this is important, man, for anybody listening to this. What you believe you have, right, and what you actually have are two different things. If you don't have it in writing, then you don't really have it, right? So now I always go back to who was his attorney at that particular time when he was doing all of this talking, right? So now he denied it before, right? Like he's denying it now. But later on, he began to acknowledge a role, all while believing he had immunity is what his attorney is arguing. His attorney also says that the state has no physical evidence connecting Davis to the murder. Only his statements, which are allegedly made under immunity agreements that the prosecution now denies. Right? So once again, I would have thought that when he first tried to get the charges dismissed, that they would have put up these immunity agreements. I don't know if he did or didn't, like I said, but for the first time they tried this with the regular trial judge, it didn't work. It was denied. You can look back on that interview on on that some months back, and you can check it out, right? But look, so listen, check it out. And here it is. And I'm going to tell you about that just to inform you. Earlier this year, in January, right? In January of 2025, a lower court judge rejected Arnold's motion to dismiss. Like I told you, the trial judge basically rejected the motion to dismiss. The judge said Davis didn't provide any proof of those immunity deals, ladies and gentlemen. So he did not provide any proof that he had immunity at that motion to dismiss, right? And ruled that the 27-year delay in prosecution was not deliberate or unconstitutional. I think they're going to find that the lower court, the Supreme Court, is going to find that the lower court got it right. Once again, like I said, what you believe you have and what you actually have are two different things. Here you have it. Earlier this year, in January, a lower court, right? The trial court judge rejected Arnold's motion to dismiss. The judge said Davis didn't provide proof of those immunity deals he's now trying to argue in front of the Nevada Supreme Court, ladies and gentlemen. You just heard what did his attorney just say, right? He said Arnold argues that the state has no physical evidence connecting Davis to the murder, only his statements, which are allegedly made under immunity agreements that the prosecution now denies. Now, so if they denied it now, they denied it then. So what's changed unless he got, he found the paperwork that he had signed that gave him immunity? Ladies and gentlemen, how I know that that's not true and that wouldn't be true is the simple fact that when Keffe D was arrested, it would have never happened. The government would have known that, hey, you know what? We can't arrest him. Like I said, the Nevada state was respecting the deal that Keffe D did with the LAPD and United States attorney. But once he wrote the book, once he started going out and talking about it in public, he violated that agreement. That's the only agreement that I was aware of that had anything to do with that, right? So when he tried it earlier with the lower court, he never provided proof. He has to provide proof of those immunity deals, and he might got a shot, right? So, yeah, that's what it is. You know what I mean? Those are the facts. But now, listen, the Supreme Court is being asked to weigh in. If they agree with Davis's defense, this could shake the very foundation of the case. If they don't, Davis heads to trial in 2026. Like I said, if he's arguing about these agreements, he has to put them up. I mean, like I said, if that were the case, he should have put it up when he did it before the lower court. He wouldn't even have to go through this. Be like, hey, you know what? He did have a deal with the government. He can't be charged. Listen, the lower court judge, basically, she went over it thoroughly because no judge wants their situation to be overturned with the higher court, right? I think they're grasping at straws here, trying to pull this maneuver once again before he gets convicted, because if he is convicted, there is no chance. So what Carl Arnold is doing is kind of a smart thing. He's getting ahead of it. He's saying, okay, look, we're going to go and try to argue what we would normally argue if you get convicted. Because if we can't get it on, the grounds of you having these immunity agreements and somebody making some kind of deal with you, if we can't do that, Keffe D, we're going to have to take a plea bargain. They're going to have to take a plea. I mean, at the end of the day. So strategically, I think this would be the right thing to do for Keffe D. Carl Arnold is making a great decision in doing this. He's getting ahead of it because, like I said, usually it's after one's convicted. He's doing it before to see if he can, possibly, get some kind of a win. If he can't, then Keffe D basically knows where he stands, and the prosecution probably be willing to make a deal to avoid a trial, right? So listen, that's right. February 2026, the new trial date. The defense says they need more time to locate witnesses and conduct deeper investigations. The court granted the delay, which gives both sides time to sharpen their swords. But that also means Tupac fans, legal experts, and the hip-hop world will be watching for nearly another year and a half before this even goes to trial. But we almost there. So like I said, we're almost there. We got a couple of more months, and we're going to see if this goes to trial. Like I said, if they lose this bid with the Nevada State Supreme Court, I think Keffe D going to strike a deal. I don't think he can, because if he goes to trial under the situation after trying with the higher court, yeah, I don't think it's gonna work, and I think he possibly don't know, don't quote me on this, but possibly will spend the rest of his life in prison, if you will, right? Now here's the straight game. You know what I mean? If Keffe D is successful with this appeal, the entire case could be thrown out. But if the Supreme Court sides with the prosecutors, he'll face the full weight of the charges in 2026. And like I said, once again, when the reality comes out and everything that he said, and they're now presenting this in front of a jury, the interviews from Vlad, the interviews from Art of Dialogue, snippets and pages and big postcards blown up of his statements in the book, right? It's a hell of a lot to overcome coming from somebody who basically now is saying, hey, you know what, I cooperated with the government. Now the government don't want to play fair with me, right? I don't think that's a formidable argument that Keffe D is going to win at this particular time, based on the fact that he had already lost this same argument with the lower court, ladies and gentlemen. This case isn't just about Tupac. It's about legal strategy, the value of immunity, and whether what you say even years ago can come back to haunt you. Like I said, we're going to keep our eyes on this one. We'll be following it all the way. Like I said, if you found this episode insightful, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a comment below. Do you think Keffe D's statements should be admissible? Do you think Keffe D's statements should be admissible? Or should this case move forward? Or is this a little too late in the game? Like I said, leave a comment, ladies and gentlemen. I think, like I said, this is going to be very interesting, man. You know, come February 2026, it's going to be something that we're going to definitely be watching and paying attention to. Like I said, your boy Delray, straight game.
Blackjack. Life is like those cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.